Okay. I'm starting now. It worked. I forgot to do the camera thing correctly.
Oh, so you're doing a Zoom thing?
No, stream live. YouTube.
Are you making a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Wait, so you don't teach the class?
Yes. In fact, it's on now, and that's the first thing that was on the video. I'm teaching it through the stream. You do your homework. All right. I'll let this class build up here. We'll build about things as we go along. Okay.
Oh, I get it.
Okay. There are a couple of things I want to build on, but as we get some people, I'm here early because I can't really stay till I can't stay till 8. So I want to get into some things. Um, a certain lesson that planned. I'm not going to be able to share my insights from that. So thankfully, I can make it better because I don't think it was as good as I want it to be. You know, a lot of times like preparing a lesson isn't saying what you think is the best things. Like throughout the years when you teach here at the school, you kind of teach here on the fly, right? So you're kind of teaching things that people ask you. You know what I mean? So like I saw a video where there was a question about CMOS or something. Not CMOS. When If Mega was here and asking me questions that I didn't know he was going to ask. He doesn't tell me what he's going to ask me. Um, he asked about certain herbs and stuff, and I think he asked me about CMOS. I got a text from one of the gods today too. One of the gods I teach too, and he was asking me about CMOS and stuff. Like that's one of the herbs that I haven't really used regularly. You know what I'm saying? So I use so many different things that if I use sea moss and I liked it, then I just would be saying that unless I got like some dramatic, incredible effect, I can't really tell what the effect was because there's so many other things that I do and that I take, so it would need me to take it frequently for I'd say a few weeks, at least a week, but a lot of people, I'm going to say this, I'm not because I've seen anything, but sea moss is being made by everybody. And it's some of the people I accept, some of the people I think are cleanly, hygienic, and all that kind of stuff. But I always question the quality of things when everybody can make it out their backyard. It becomes a new. It's like the healthy. It's the way everybody's selling. Um, just be aware. That's all I'm saying. Be aware of where you're getting your sea moss from, things like that. Make sure the person is reputable. You know what I'm saying? Um, just like with anything, you know what I'm saying? It may not be from a store, it may not have the organic label and stuff like that, but there are things that you can do to make sure that things are suitable. Anybody that comes in now, I see somebody wrote it. I can't say who it is because I'm a little far. Step away a little bit, far away, leaning on this table because it's comfortable. On the table. So any questions that anybody has now, this is the time. Usually when I start the class, I let the class settle. I let people come in. I let them ask the questions. Most important thing for a teacher, if they're really trying to teach someone something, okay, is to find out about that student. And the more that I know about you, the more that I can teach you. However, the more things that I would want to know about you, you may not want other people to know. And that's why it's important to email me, set up a dialogue and stuff like that, what we could build. right? This is for everybody, people that tune in, they're not sure, they click on the link. This is probably going to be after they click on the link. They're like, this is what the class teaches. This is the P.E.A.C.E course, political education and civilization enrichment. Okay, political education being how we deal with the outside world, and then civilization enrichment, that knowledge of self, and that is everything. That's everything. Okay, so it means this. You know, I go back to these comments because sometimes you need stupid comments to allow you to give you a good answer. You know, I saw a comment though about the herbs and that why are they talking about stuff that they don't know about, and that works in a planned lesson. I wouldn't make a planned lesson that I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Um, However, in a classroom like this, one is expected to answer almost anything. And pretty much, I don't really put limits on things about what I'm going to answer or what, especially what can be asked. The idea to be a good teacher, and this is the goal that we have as 5%ers, we're trying to be teachers to the youth, is to be able to get to the answer. You can't really know everything. That's impossible. We all accept that. And then we're upset when people don't know everything. You know, so the key is you want to be able to build in such a way where you help people find the answer. You equip them. The most important thing that the teacher brings to the table is not their lesson plan as far as actual knowledge. You know, education comes from the Latin root educare, to draw out that which is within. You know what I mean? And to draw out that which is within means that innately it's not that all knowledge is there to just be sprouted out when they can remember it. You know what I'm saying? It means that once they are given a forum, then they can actually engage in a path that'll draw it out, that'll allow them to see it more clearly. I think that as teachers, the key is for us to have a forum. You know what I'm saying? Usually the first forum is we try to find out, well, this knowledge is important to me and I'm trying to give it to them. But then take it like this, knowledge, what happens after knowledge is wisdom. So if you realize that the student has no way to wisdom the knowledge that you give them, then now that's where you start to build the forums. Okay? You start to build the forums, and then what is a forum? If a forum is about giving somebody knowledge, but has to have some type of way for them to use it, then that means that your goal set as far as judging whether it's working as a teacher, these forums that you make, is whether they are developing their own unique understanding. And that's the hardest part, because understanding is something that gets traditionalized in the teacher's mind that has a desire, right? That has a desire to teach something. Okay. So here's what happens. The understanding that you judge from a student isn't supposed to be something you want them to just say. It technically should be correct, but more so, it should be something that is challengeable to develop. Okay, here's why. Everybody's understanding should be unique. And by that, if I left it there, that means I'm implying that it should be totally different. That's not what I'm implying. What I'm actually saying is that when some student has an understanding, right, the real measure of that understanding as the real understanding that the student has in that respect, right, is that we have to understand that whatever form you gave, literature, you had them write, let's say we meet these kids in the street and we have them write songs with us, like we write some rhymes together and shit like that. But they got to be on the topic, they got to be on something. The truth is that the forms that you gave is still part of a classroom. And that classroom is better understood, the way I teach it, as a laboratory. So that means that their understanding, though, isn't always useless if it is actually wrong. It actually can show much development. It could be totally wrong, but then it could show you the flaw in either your teaching or it could show the flaw in how they're studying and how they're seeing something that is correct you taught them, but they need a different way. They need a different way for you to show them. Okay? So this is important though. You know what I mean? So the classroom that works is the one that's a laboratory. All right? The classroom that works is a laboratory. Okay? All right? Okay. Let me look at these. Peace, Jarrell. Peace, Harmon. All right. One moment. Everybody say peace to my daughter, Alma. I have her here at the school. She hasn't been here with me a long time, so. All right. Now you go back to your homework, though. All right. All right. Peace to God, King Kamal. Yeah.
Hey, Bobby, my leg hurts this whenever sometimes.
Maybe we should sit like that. If it hurts. Okay. I see a question there from Jarrell. I had something in my eye, though. Is it necessary to quote the biblical verses in the lessons? It's in the lesson. Yeah, you got to quote it, though. Even if you hate the Bible, you got to quote the Bible. Yeah. It's not that many, though. It's right. There's only two, so that's not too bad. Yeah. I love the. I like the anti-Bible sentiment, but yeah, memorize that. You know what I'm saying? As an assignment, though, you should be reading those scriptures of Ezekiel and St. John's, though, to see why do you think those were extracted. You know what I mean? Why did they use those? You know, why do you think that they used those? Or be familiar with those. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, technically you have not quoted the Greek. You have not quoted the degree. You know what I'm saying? Um, you got to quote the degree completely, or else you get no credit. You know what I'm saying? Completely. You know? And the scriptures that are quoted, they shouldn't be looked at as Bible scriptures. They should be looked on as clues. And I felt like all quotes, a lot of times when you read things and quotes are used is because at that moment the insights supplement what is being said or say what is meant in a better way. And that's why quotes are used. So it is very, very important to understand, why something is quoted, you know. Now that I've said that, now we know that those quotes, especially to me, especially Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18, especially okay. Yeah, so let me know any questions you have. I'm King. You said, can one quote their own understanding as an answer if it doesn't conflict with the original answer to the question. Well, one's understanding, just by theory of what understanding means, it shouldn't conflict at all with the answer in a degree. But I think one thing, right, is that understanding isn't just a different way of saying the answer. That's a step to the understanding. Understand? So when we look at degrees, we're re-explaining it into our own dialect. This is important, especially if you go out and build with other people. There should be a myriad amount of ways to build on a degree as far as teaching it. Okay. So but teaching it though, you may be explaining the degree, but that doesn't mean you have an understanding. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that is different as well. Right? What I would say is this: you don't always have to quote degrees when you're teaching. It's good if you're at that point with the student that is learning to memorize. Okay, that's good. Um, but I think it's good to quote specific parts that you would definitely find very key. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, like the quote when you're dealing with a degree that you do know and that you are teaching, sometimes it's important to quote it. Sometimes though, we all have to have strategies. Sometimes the person's ability, the student's ability to remember things and to focus is not really well done. They lose focus, they lose concentration. So you don't always want to quote, a long ass degree. And by the time you finish quoting, you've already kind of lost them. And that's why sometimes, even though it seems like we're supposed to be doing that all the time, that's not always the strategy that works all the time. So it depends. Jerome, you said that's peace. I grew up memorizing Bible verses and had to work hard debating myself in those beliefs. I like that. Not having to dig through those catacombs, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate though. You know what I'm saying? And when you grow up like that, I would understand like if you didn't want to see or just wasn't seeing anything. Like we memorize these lessons though, but that doesn't mean that all of them are going to be ones that we love, that we get all types of mind blowing understanding of. And there are degrees I don't like that much. You know what I'm saying? I find some of the degrees repetitive or even religious. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with everything in the lessons because of that. But I find I don't. There's not a degree that I don't find useful for being there because they give you an insight to who is building on it. So that's important. But yeah, make sure you quote those Bible verses. If you just quote Bible verses all your life, those aren't too hard. They're not too hard. Like I said, Ezekiel 30, chapter 3, verse 18 is the longest one, and that's a nice one though. It has a Samuel Jackson vibe. You know what I'm saying? You could quote it like Samuel Jackson and have fun with it though. When I say unto the wicked that thou should surely die, you can have fun with that. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you quote it. King, you said it's almost like back when we almost at school had to summarize a degree. Right. You should summarize a degree, but summaries of a degree aren't necessarily the ingenious understanding that you should expect out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hey, you said some degrees just don't speak to me, and I don't be feeling some degrees 140, but it might be good for someone else. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And here, why do we memorize them then? Because they're for the life that we're living. And sometimes degrees that don't fit you, you might walk into the understanding. You might see the understanding. You walk outside, and then all of a sudden you witness something that goes straight to that understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Poppy, is it over? Poppy?
No, we have an hour. Does this work?
Yeah, I have to write 2 paragraphs about my essay.
Okay.
Hey, Poppy, what are those 3 pages? Still work?
Yeah.
Because I know.
If they were hooked up, I would have let you play with them, okay? I don't know how to hook them up. Okay?
Maybe next time when I come, can you ask somebody to hook them up? Because I don't play with the Pac-Man.
I'll find out. When they get hooked up, I will bring you here to play with them. Okay?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Truth Rules. Any questions that people have, please let me know. Okay. The email is sunyas97@gmail. Okay, it's important that if we're to really build, this is just the beginning. The classroom session is just the beginning. Okay. But I don't because I got here early. I don't have my regular students coming here just yet, which I'm not surprised by. I'm only going to be here till 7 o'clock, so I want to get your questions and things like that. Okay. I want to say something else, though. It's, you know, I think that this generation of scholarship, this now, is very much based in categorization, and it's very ironic. It's very ironic to me because they skipped over the most important categorization they could ever encounter. And that was the one that Allah gave. You know what I'm saying? Definitively, man is God. The particular black man is God. Who is the black man? The black woman is the earth. Who is the black woman? Who the devil is? Why they are the devil? And can they be a righteous man? Right? So all of these things were answered and categorized, right? As we get excited from the outside. That's how you get sick of that's lead. Right? Um, and I was thinking about this overclassification and the obsession with scholarship has been a way for original people that have been in scholarship to fight back against racism, and it leads to overclassification that misses the most important classification. The perspective, there is no mystery, and the mentality, we are the true and living gods on earth. In other words, we control our reality, that our reality is controlled by ourselves. With that missing, all of this great scholarship of this generation has become based on the idea that what? That we are complete victims. And then the counter from whites, well meaning or not, right? It's always mostly not well meaning, right? Is that everyone has to be able to do for themselves. Now, here's the thing racism always gets countered by people talking about racism as a micro reality. No, it's not fair because that individual, they're not dealing with racism and oppression particularly. They've got this, they've got that. Why could they complain? Or if they even have to go crazy, they would compare it to other countries. Right, better here, right? These classifications are not micro, they're not individual, they are macro. And the 120 also can fall victim to the student, right? Can also fall victim to a bad understanding, a misunderstanding. If they only read the degrees and they personalize everything. Here's what I mean. I'm going to tell you this. This is something that people don't look at because we're getting a knowledge of self, but technically there is some going back before we go forward. Just like the cipher is perfection, is not perfect. It is not done. It is imperfection. It goes back to go forward, and the cipher gets deeper, right? And when we get a knowledge of self, those who enlightened us, especially if you're from my generation, told us and personalized the degree, said that's you. Certain people like myself, or a lot of people like myself, they need to get it personalized. They don't see themselves as the true and living God. They don't see themselves as even the definition of a black man. By the way we are dealing with it, of the original people, the 16 shades of the original, and what is the black, brown, yellow. Okay? So then now to teach it though, it has to be personalized. But here's the problem though, when it becomes personalized that I have noticed is that they can't unpersonalize it when it goes. So when you have personalized it, you also have to realize that you may not have actually seen what it really entails. So it says that you're the true and living God. You say, okay, that's me, right? But there are things that you have to do for it to be so. And for that, you have to take it out of the micro, your personal reality, and take it to a larger extent. Okay? So what I mean by that, right? What I mean by that is when we look at the lessons, you are not automatically God because you're the Asiatic black man. You are not automatically God if you feel like you're a black man that makes things. You're not automatically God if you're a black man that makes things and owns many things. See where I'm coming from here, right? If you're a father, though, it is much different than just being father versus father of civilization, and so on and so forth. There are things that must be done, and it has to be taken out from the generalization. Okay, so it is not automatic that one is God because he is some he checks off boxes. Just like when we look at the macro reality and the micro reality, this is why the Father said to be neither pro black nor anti white. Okay, these are things to think about. Um, I can even see, and I'm just trying to. Uh, see King, I'm going to read what you just wrote to King, because I see that you wrote something else. But I have to let me detroll this. Detroll this, right? A lot of times when people get knowledge, they think that they have already they're all in there. You know what I'm saying? They're not there. You just information about yourself, but you haven't been that. So like I tell people, I wanted to be a writer since 1994, and I was writing by the end of 1994, published by the end of 1994. It wasn't until I would say into the late 90s that I considered myself a writer, when I would give myself the title. And I didn't consider myself the writer I wanted to become until, honestly, until I wrote those essays. I gotta keep it real. You know what I mean? That's when I became a writer. You know, that's when I saw myself as a writer. You know, King, you asked, as a teacher for years with students, do you ever feel in the future that some long lessons will be condensed or shortened to fit younger people's attention span? Oh man, I, oh, man, I hope never. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can't say that it wouldn't happen because I don't know how people will teach. You know what I'm saying? I think if people continue to teach it badly, then people will take the most immediate parts that could be used. I think that one of the most powerful things in 120 though is that it forces us to have a body of knowledge in our mind all the time, and it forces our our minds, not body, to constantly cross-reference life with things you've learned, and that is something we always do. The mind automatically does that, but you don't do it consciously. And I think that there is little respect for valid information that is not useful right now. And a lot of people, for example, ask, how do I have answers to so many things? If I write, how do I have things that could come up with topics or things like that? It's because I read a lot of things that may not be immediately useful for me, but I work to find the interest in them or see how they could be valuable. In other words, I'm always trying to extend the palette. And I think that we can't take it away that for the elders that got it, that weren't really reading like that. So they are the best case study. This was the best way that they expanded their palette of information. You see, you're not a great thinker unless you can extend your palette. You know what I'm saying? That means that you like certain things, right? You like certain things, but you're also testing other things to see if you like it. Other cartoons, maybe, other movies, other books. Throwing the darts here since I have her here, right? But the palette, that's why the palette is such an important teaching with me. You know? King, you said I asked because people's attention span seems so short nowadays, even with music. The length of albums, so on me doing music has always helped me because the music grabbed their attention. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know what's funny is that people think that they're it's what makes people more comfortable. The truth is that people's palates they become shorter for things, but that doesn't mean that they're taking in less information. And if they would realize that, then they realize that they should work their mind to take in um, set amounts of information for longer periods of time. So, for example, somebody's on TikTok, or somebody's on social media, or somebody's on watching TV or videos. They're taking in a lot of information, but they're taking in stuff that can't be dismissed. You see, so the problem is the long-term memory. And because it doesn't have a long-term memory, it doesn't have to be put back. You know what I'm saying? Like it could go away, it could drift, it doesn't have to be important. But then all of a sudden they see a new TikTok, and then all of a sudden they remember one that was from back there. So it is still in there being used, but it's not strong enough. It's not strong enough for the real world of hell and the type of intelligence that they're going to need for it. You know what I mean? So it's not developing. So these are stuff, you know what's funny? We think certain devices in the mind are being destroyed. They're just getting utilized in a different way. You know what I'm saying? They get utilized in a different way. Well, you said so. I'm hearing you correctly. It's that we must continue to live out that and think about it objectively, perhaps not just personally. Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? This is why, like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Knowledge, right? King is knowledge. When you say king is knowledge, then that means that you're saying that the way I see it, you're saying that one who has knowledge and one who has knowledge of the people, has the knowledge of himself and the knowledge of the people, can then make the wise decisions for the populace, right? But to do that, they have to be able to also look back. They have to look above or away from the people. If they can't look away from the people, then they can't really do the knowledge properly, right? So this is important. You know what I mean? This is very important. And I want us to be able to say that if the black man is God, then that means how then are all black men God, and how must they be? Do we look back? This is something that is part of the research that I end up doing because I'm teaching people every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching people every day. You know? Hey, Amma, you could look in the back of those to see. I don't know if there are plugs back there.
Yeah, there's a plug right on top of both of these. But you have to move them.
Yeah. These are games that were brought in, so I don't want to touch them and everything. I don't know if they can be used. You know
Well, now I want to do that one.
yeah. I gotta ask Darkin because he's the one that know about this. But I promise, when they get working though, I'll bring you here. You can play all the whole time.
Kinetic Four, but it's not open. Oh, I mean Kinetic Four.
Joel, you said the conceptualization of information needs more than just memorization. There needs to be understanding. Right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. Okay. Truth. You said that's peace. How you put it is knowledge, knowledge. Okay, that's what I mean by having our own understanding. How would we use it though? You know what I'm saying? Like when we look at the knowledge equality degree, we always say we're the 5% of the poor part of the planet Earth. But that's a collective people degree. That is not an individual degree. Even when you say I'm part of the 5%, look, I'm in that degree. Who's the 5%? The truth is that the reality is you have to look beyond. You have to see if you're part of that reality. You know what I mean? So you're being part of the group. So you're looking at it from a macro reality. So it's important that you look at things from a macro reality. It helps you understand people more. It helps you understand what you're dealing with. No one understands the hells that they go through unless they take a step back. In fact, I always say, to my understanding, this is the reality of Yakub making a devil. It's forcing us to look at things from a larger view. In this case, couldn't take us away from it, but he took something outside of our inside of our mindset and put it out there for us to see, but also unfortunately witness as an outside force. And how powerful that outside force is shows us how powerful that separation is within self, separating light from ground. And yet, after all these years, what are we dealing with now? We're dealing with people separating. Peace. I heard him, but I don't know where he is. He said the way I see it is that black, brown, yellow are different shades, all original men, aka black men. The male physical form of everything human, everything in the universe in human form. Then you ask, should we use the macro reality way of approaching all of our lessons? No, no. Everything is both and combined. You know, I'm saying this because people are comfortable personalizing. They're not comfortable um, with looking at it from macro reality. And I don't want us to think that we achieved the lesson. You did not achieve the lesson if you just say, listen, I'm a true living God. You know what I mean? What makes you a 5%? Like today's degree, like what makes someone a 5%? Most of the people I see that are 5%ers, though, I don't see them create things and I don't see them teach anyone. So I don't know how they're 5%ers. So if you're not a student, how are you a 5%? You know what I'm saying? Because that degree, today's degree, is not about who God is. It's about the people that many of them happen to be God are teaching who God is. Okay, so it's not necessarily important about who is God in today's degree. It's who is teaching that the black man is God. That's what today's degree is about. So when you look out from that degree and what harm I be that I what are the things I do? If I don't teach overtly, then how do I teach covertly? Peace God, right? So on Thursday night I teach overtly. But then how do I teach other ways? Obviously, I can't really, in my life though, it's not really, I don't really have a choice of teaching covertly only. I'm pretty much teaching overtly all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because all of the students that I have are not just in the classroom, and all the students that are in the classroom, it's not enough for us to just be in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. All right, P.E.A.C.E, peace, God. Again, I want to emphasize there's more people here. I'm going to be here until 7 p.m. Okay, so I'll be here for another hour. I got my daughter with me and I wanted to get to bed at a suitable time.
Bobby, nothing to do.
You going home?
Yeah,
There you go. Beach Owls, bro.
yeah.
Come on, get to it. Come. What do you think I do when there's no student here?
Read a book.
You said that like Eeyore. Like, okay. I had my notes open and I closed it. Give me a moment here. Just want to see if I'm tackling everything. All right, let me see. All right, peace, Kasim. Wisdom, infinite earth. Peace, earth. When it comes to Yakub and how I relate that to myself, I find myself examining womanism versus feminism. Okay, I'd like to know more about that. What you think that is. You know what I'm saying? What you think that is. You know? And I'll tell you this, though. I think women are very crucial in this scholarship, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say this, though, right? Nowhere in time, though, have women had more of a black women have more of a platform to share their insights, their disagreements, their writings, their thoughts, their dissertations, right? Their feminism, there's a lot mixed with the oppressor's version of feminism. So even if white women aren't in the mix, it's very much fixed with that. Um, it is very separatist, and yet some of it is useful. Some of it I don't agree with, though. But I'd like to know what you think about how you define womanism, because I've never heard it said like that, so I don't know how you would define that. So that's very interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of the categorization is because people are trying to find a. You know what's interesting? I find very interesting. The generation of scholarship is trying to find such a link with ancestors and the reality of what we have gone through and all of that, and yet they know very little of the plight of the earlier generation. So I might talk about the 60s and 70s, but they don't really know anything that happened in the 80s or 90s or 2000s. You know, and the consciousness of where things relate is left out of it. So everything is left like a fringe group. So like people study Black history and then they act like Nation of Islam is not part of that Black history, you know, and that influence. Black Panthers, Young Lords, especially us. I could, see, you know, there's so many reasons why we wouldn't get noticed. You know what I'm saying? Um, but a lot of things are being skipped, is what I'm saying. You know.
Hey, Bobby.
Truth rules. There's no way to learn anything, right? If we don't give examples.
I
Yeah.
got stuck on a word.
What?
I got stuck on a word.
No, it's no. You
Will
can.
you skip it?
No, you can ask me. Okay. I'm sure no one is gonna get upset if you ask me. If you interrupt me for words and stuff while you read. Okay. So you could finish this book here.
Sure.
As you're going through this, all beat up, reading it fast. Can you ask me? I've always felt that I've shown that the black man is God, and the duty of the civilized is to civilize the uncivilized through my music. Why are some against that being considered teaching? Hmm. I think some people say it's. I think it. I'm gonna say this though. Let me give you a history of perceptions among the elders here in the room. There is a bitter, rightfully so, bitter taste. Many great artists have given money to the school, and some of it wasn't used as well as it should be. And I don't mean corruption. I mean like we just didn't know to use. And a lot of people don't understand that a lot of things have fallen apart and had to be rebuilt. So just when this school is a lot like you buy something, you say, listen, I got money to finally get me this new thing I've never had before, right? But just as you get that money, now something in your kitchen breaks. So now you have to use that money to get that. So like, how you get something like, oh, I'm gonna get this new thing. But like now you finally get the money and now you have to replace something that just broke. So you can't get that new thing. That I can't tell you that signifies so much of the history of money here at this school that it's mind blowing. It's almost unfair. You know what I mean? And the reason for that is because people think that when they give lots of money to the school, that it's going to be squandered. Yes, some of it. Like a lot of people have done devilishment. Not everybody's 5%. People have not known how to use money. That is even more of an answer, right? Not knowing how to use it. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, oh, there's also people who couldn't agree what to use it for. So when the money is used, it's not as potent. You know what I'm saying? Um, but then the other thing is this: we don't accept money from anyone on a level of like organizations, anything that would influence. So what happens is there's not a consistent money stream of really useful capital. P.E.A.C.E. So there's not like capital that you can use. You know what I'm saying? There's not consistent money capital. So these are all things. But I think I'm saying all this though because over the years, a lot of the MCs took things, a lot of the MCs taught, um, and they did things that are commendable. You know what I'm saying? But I think this, I'm going to say this though. I don't know if this was ever something pitched, but the greatest of the 5% MCs, the most successful 90s MCs, whether it be, I don't want to say the acts, I'm not going to say the acts, but some of them, they were doing things that were not right and exact the way that they taught it. Okay? I don't mean like crimes or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just we're teaching it wrong. Again, because they weren't understanding, they made logical mistakes with it. Then I think this is the big thing. I think that the artists, and I think also the school ourselves, the guys that were here, just weren't able to be creative enough to have the money that they could bring in or the star power to develop some type of program where they can get the kids to do stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that people haven't tried and stuff. It hasn't been done to its greatest effect, you know, or thought of the right program. They tried it. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of the elders would many bitter feelings. You know what I'm saying? And then as you go along, what happens is that, like I said, people think that like after Wu Tang Forever, the simplifying of lyrics is very much in tow. Very, very much in tow. They'll tell you, like, listen, you're a big artist, though, but you're going to have to keep it more simple. And I can't tell you how important these things are. And then once you get metrics that become which is the baby version of algorithms, these things flood by the early 2000s. I said this all the time. And now artists know technically by these metrics and these algorithms and stuff that they really are going to falter with sales and not be a viable artist if they don't make certain things simpler, if they don't have something related, if they can't appeal to all these broad markets. That's why I like the Dark Ages, the 2000s. It was filled with MCs like Saigon, Papoose, and all these others, where they made Jadakiss, where they made very weak albums, but they had a song for this, song for that, song for her, song for him, song for those, song for these, song for those. song for this place, that place, right? Club, street, block, right? Hoes, good girls, relationships, people I'm gonna kill, drug spots, right? They have songs for categories, spaces, places, and faces. You know what I'm saying? This is all marketing. This is all marketing, and it becomes destructive to the music. You know what I'm saying? And now when you see MCs, and there's some of my own students, I'm trying to teach them. You cannot be just getting this knowledge so that way your songs have more viable lyrics. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times people are starting to realize like how dynamically written so much of the Wu-Tang catalog is. You know what I'm saying? Especially RZA, Jizza, Ray Ghost. You know how dynamically written, especially those four, how dynamically written they are, and how intertwined that is. And a lot of it is because of the dialect of this knowledge and the way that we use dialect, the way that we're able to make new words. You know, and I think that that backlash hits a lot of people today. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. There are great MCs that are 5%, right? Like yourself, Kamal, that teach. There are others that they just do what they're gonna do, like Estinak. Like he teaches, but on the record, he's not gonna be. You may not know, like you may not even notice it. Yes, student, adorable student. What is it?
What is this word?
Taste. Okay, that's okay. You said womanism is family centered and what black feminism looks like in mine. I would have to agree with that. Because he said special technique is shadow boxing. True. You said, correct me if I'm wrong, this lesson that you're speaking on, the ones who is teaching. I'm speaking on particularly, this particular question on those artists that are teaching, that are trying to teach. But you got to understand that a lot of the elders do have issues with 5%ers rapping because they get frustrated that it may. I think the truth is, they may not recognize this, but the 5%ers ballooned. They weren't really of this. You know what I'm saying? And then now today, if you want to get those kind of messages, you can find them. But you have to dig very deep. So it's not really for someone that's automatically going to get it anyway. You know what I'm saying? You wrote Bobby Digital. I can't tell you the hell that he got though when he did Bobby Digital. You know what I mean? And people did not understand it. Which he made some, like he definitely should not have been wearing a cross. Then he was wearing the cross and the flag, and then he just got rid of it and was wearing the universal flag. See? But he was trying so many things. And I think for certain artists, though, not every artist, but certain artists. That's why I really like what STM does. It makes it very distinct that it's not going to stifle creativity for anyone's expectation of a lesson. And some artists that are very avant-garde in that nature, like they don't think of their, they don't, they don't, they don't always think about, oh, will somebody hear this the wrong way or anything like that. They just say, um, like 90% of the stuff. Then those are the MCs that could be a problem because Wu-Tang was carrying such a heavy banner. People forget that they rhyme very, very freely. You know what I'm saying? Because they rhyme so very freely, um, they have the chance to say stuff that could be perceived as incorrect, but it's not. You know? Well, see, you wrote the Night the Earth Cried. That's an overt song, right? That's an overt song, right? But look at Ray Ghost. They're filled with very abstract songs. I think that's why they're more comfortable with saying that they're Muslim because they didn't want that song. when you say you're Muslim and you're a Black American, is there going to be a Sunni order or anything else that's going to come here from the Middle East and say, listen, Raekwon, you say you're Muslim now, you can't be rapping like that. Is that going to happen? So it has the same, it has a lot of the freedoms now that a Christian would have. That's why I think a lot of people just go with the. Be careful with those chairs. Okay? Make sure they're sturdy before you sit up. Okay? I hope that's making sense. Right. Peace, infinite mind. Malik, peace. What do you think of Rakim lyrics like "Who is God" of the 18th letter? It's been a while since I heard that though, but I didn't have a problem with that song. I have less of a problem now with that song after reading his autobiography because he says that he wasn't taught by anybody, so he didn't have a teacher because he didn't want a teacher telling him what it means, what things mean, and have to just obey a teacher. So he didn't really understand and never really was around to really understand what an engineer is, what this, how this teaches by that discipleship. I'm going to use a general word to give it distinction. I always try. This is why I can't teach. You know what I'm saying? Can't use. I would like that to be more. I know. I would like it too, because it takes a special touch. You can't just take any marker. I don't see it. Sorry. This is you can't use a regular marker. You have to use those special whiteboard markers.
I do. I finished reading.
You finished the whole book?
No.
Then you
But you told me to read 10 pages.
no, but you're here. Continue to read. That's it. That's it. Infinite mind, you said power in the supreme alphabet quality. And today is knowledge equality is power. When you knowledge your quality, you knowledge your power because power is not being one up against the next person. And power equality allows equality. You know, see that, God? The relationship between power and equality in the supreme math and supreme alphabet taught me the real meaning of power. Truth. I'm gonna say this truth though. I don't bear witness to an artist being more into this knowledge or teaching more about the knowledge, the more lessons that they overtly use. But if that's a question written like that, the answer is obviously Master Killer because no one has put lessons in verses more blatantly than Master Killer. I don't know who that is.
This.
Sure, sure. What is that?
It's a joke.
Selling my soul. Yeah, if you go, you go through his catalog, his verses on Move Forever, everybody's projects, he's a great MC too, man. Very underrated. Very King, you said I met a Muslim in Atlanta around 2009 that said he was at a mosque where rain ghosts took their shahada. Weren't they originally 5% when I met ghosts back in the building? Yeah, that's why I was giving those reasons. That's why I said exactly what I was saying about it. You know? Yeah. True power is equality. I see that. Okay. I agree. I agree. Right. One of Master Killer's greatest lines, right? Don't mostly intrigued by the drum. Yeah, they both say that they're Muslim. Raekwon details why he's a Muslim too, though. So, and I don't have to give my word for it. You just read the his autobiography. It's very entertaining, you know. And I'm like I said, I'm mad. I think that most people that became 5%ers can't be for the whole life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Infinite mind, you're really like defining this whole thing. Like, there's nothing to say with that. 5%. We represent the power equality. So, right, exactly. Great way of putting it. Well, Kasim, I'll tell you this personally. I don't spend much time thinking about that, but living it this long, it's hard. It's hard. A lot of people, I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of people that have had it as long as me, it's easier for them because they're not doing it all the time. They're not out there teaching it though. Their works aren't affected by it. Everything that I do is affected by it. Let's say that I'm not, I just am this. There's no issue with me being this at all. I don't care how many people hate Boricuas. I don't care how many people think I'm too light, whatever. All that shit is crap. There's no problem with being this. Um, it has difficulties. It has a lot of difficulties. And people don't really like this the way I do, where they have to teach it at all times, where they're asked to represent it at all times. You know what I'm saying? So I get days where I don't do anything. I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna read and relax today. People are asking me things. You know what I'm saying? People that I don't even know and people that I do know. So, you know, I think that when you have to represent something that is bigger than yourself, in our case, we're God, but we're representing all gods. You know, I'm here at the school. No class I've ever taught here is Sunez class. I have been I have been taught here. I was taught here to represent this everywhere. So that everything I say represents the whole nation. I remember one time I said something as a joke, and it didn't translate very well. And it was on video, and some of the elders pulled me over and they said, "Listen, this is not the way you can represent yourself." You know what I'm saying? You're representing more than just you because you're you. You know what I'm saying? So I can't always, you know what I'm saying? Be savage, I guess. Again, it doesn't feel any different. Saying so, it's not like I was on come on like did the album and I was like, yo, come on, man. I wish I could go to these real explicit rap stuff, but I can't do it. That's not the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel that way. It doesn't come out that way anyway. So I'm the man for the job. You know what I mean? But people can't really do that. They can't live this all the time. They don't want to be questioned about things that they did or things that they're gonna do. And what people don't understand is that it's absolute. That MCs like and stuff like that, they were being examined. You know what I'm saying? Some of it, a lot, let's keep it, most of it disrespectfully, but a lot of it though was being respectful. You know, and people think like they see on videos and they're like, oh look, he's mad because he didn't make it and stuff like that. People have no idea what I made, so I don't know how they can say how if I made it. You know what I'm saying? And they say that I'm left behind when I didn't never went there. I never tried to go there. So I can't get left behind from something that didn't go. Now that would be more as I am. I stayed behind. You know right? And the thing is, I think that was very difficult for a lot of MCs to hold that. It makes, and I think that's this. I think they're the perfect micro, a little, an example, a small example of a microcosmic example of everything that is going on. So many people got this knowledge, but they weren't really going to be the ones with it. You know what I'm saying? Malik, you said awareness of thought or the foundation. Knowledge. Quality is a balance or equal quality measured by a situation. Kasim, you said that you just saw Drink Champs interview Crazy Legs. I did too. He said he was a 5% of the noise. Said once you're a 5%, you always try to accept it if you eat pork again. Yeah, we know he was wrong. I mean, that was the like the we can always count on Nori to say things that are wildly incorrect, right? What makes someone automatically a 5%? It's not that they could have just been terrible with lessons and things like that. But if they were teaching that the black man is God, if they lived a life where they did not bear and actively resigned, got away from, and did the opposite of dealing with mystery, and they didn't eat pork, then to me they kept up with a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? It's nice that he was in get the true answer. If someone says there was a 5% of those, you can never not be a 5%. You are the wolf. We know that. Okay, but the truth is that when someone says that to you, it means that they had knowledge of self, but they didn't live it up. So I accept the answer, even though it's poorly worded. You know what I mean? The difference in my journalism, though, is that people get mad because I'm supposed to inspect people and then make them be this. If you're the true and living God, I shouldn't have to make you be this, make you under the study. The key, though, with our teachings, and what we build and how we're teaching, we're out there to teach people to be the best that they can be with everything that they do. Infinite mind. You said, in my opinion, there are many levels to being 5%. There's a difference between 5% of the poor part of the planet and 5%. As usual, my AI like infinite mind is onto something here. Malik, you said Allah Torah says black, brown, yellow, and white. What made Elijah say half original? Um, okay, but you have a reverse, though, right? Because Elijah was saying that, and then the father said that. You know what I'm saying? The father kept it simple to what he saw. Half original implies devilishment. Okay? And for what the father taught us, though, anyone that has original blood is original. So to have original is more a mindset. Mhm. Okay. You said I met many who I would consider prophets in essence or attribute, but they might still believe in the mystery God, but they are poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%. They might be civilized, but still don't see themselves as true living. You know what, infinite mind? In all our years, though, when we learned with our Seagun, Bobby Whitaker, in many ways, he was a 5%er. You know what I mean? He was teaching us to battle this world of 10%. You know what I'm saying? To deal with the 85 on the level that we needed. A major, absolutely necessary supplement to the knowledge of self that we were learning. You know? And he would be an example of someone that we saw and see as a 5%er. You know what I mean? I think people that get knowledge, though, when they say they have a rigidity, is because they don't really have that many human relationships. Just like when people get mad at the way people learn, or what they learn, or how much they use of what they've learned, they're mad about that because they don't really have experience teaching many people and know that it's okay for people to learn this way, learn that way. You know what I'm saying? You teach people to make their choices though, and then to deal with their choices in the proper way and deal with that in the most efficient way and not claim to be anything else. That's right. Right. You know, he always comes up to mind when I think about that concept. Right, right. Yeah. I never was around Bobby when he ate the wrong foods, if you know what I mean. Um, but I feel like he knew it would mortify me. So I think at least when I was around him, he did. Malik, you said so. Musa in the second degree in the 1 to 14, and the culture degree was teaching eldership. What do you think? He was teaching people the devil how to infiltrate. Yeah, he's teaching them. He's teaching them cunning, cleverness. You know what I'm saying? How to embed yourself. That's spy work. The biggest chapter in the art of war by almost double the next biggest chapter in art of war is on the use of spies. You know what I'm saying? The mental warfare. The mental warfare. Yeah. You know. Yeah. No. If I saw Bobby actually eat swine in front of me, I would have. It would have felt like my baseball hero, like watching him strike out in the World Series. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no, can't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he, no, but he's always talk shit about that. You know? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. You know? Right, right. Affirmation that he's teaching them both. You know what I'm saying, and they have that mindset. You know, piece of light visible.
Hey, Bobby, I'm playing
You know what? Let me see this. By the way, I know that Harmony won a certain lesson on monogamy versus polygamy. I didn't finish it, but even if I did have a prepared lesson of some, because I want to look up some new things and not just give you my thoughts on it, and, of what I've accumulated, but get some, see if there's some new things that I can learn about it. And I don't really have books on that, so that's two major things that I'm missing. And I didn't have enough time to collect all that. However, with my daughter here, it's not really the lesson that I want to go through, give a background of. You know what I'm saying? We're surreal. All right. What is it? IDC, peace. Mr. Supreme, peace. You know? Yeah, yeah. I didn't forget. I write down everything here. I have the notes and everything, but I was like, I don't really want to go into that lesson right now. You know? I can't tell you, like the amount of crazy shit that I have to like explain to this child that she sees. It's like monumental. You know what I'm saying? It's monumental. There's so much dumb shit out.
Okay.
All right. So for the last 20 minutes or so, right? We have about 20 minutes left. I want to go through anybody's questions or bills or anything like that. Okay. Um, I guess a lot of the conversation is really on today's degree. You know what makes someone a 5% and stuff. I remember I was one time with I was doing my Our Swords magazine. This was the magazine I did. It was called Our Swords, Our Sacred Words, and
Here.
I was doing the web version. And I remember I was with Darkin, La Sequana, I was with K-Bar, and Freedom, Dominican Freedom, right? Just so identity. He didn't call himself as righteous, But for those who know, you know. But and Freedom, because it's not popular. But and we were building. And they're seeing what I'm writing and stuff like that. And I'm very rigid. I'm young in the knowledge, and they're telling me like, listen, you can't get mad that they don't teach everything that you want on the record. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that they're not 5%ers like that. Just like Infinite Mind is saying, they're not 5%ers, but they're of the 5% because they're teaching, they're sharing things, and they're leading people to get the knowledge. And when you think about it, they are in many ways because it's not like somebody goes, I want to be a 5%er though. They go, you know what? I want to be a 5%er though. Let's go do a journey though, and I'm gonna find the RZA, and he's gonna teach me. He's gonna be my teacher. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be kind of hard to find the RZA, okay? As opposed to finding the gods that are far more easier to find. You know what I'm saying? And find the school that is far more easier, and get access to, um, with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Right?
I'm sorry. Naya, I mean Maya. She's not here.
You guys hear my daughter playing out her own school here?
Hey. Okay, so everybody, today we are going to be doing math first. So can everybody see the board? Yeah. Yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good, everybody. So after this, we're going.
All right. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I want to.
We're going to be doing a drawing test today.
I'm wary of getting into some new plus lesson I have, or plus lesson that I haven't taught in a long time, or taught to this group.
So whoever draws the most details ice cream.
But I think though, when we look at degrees in a different way, just to expound on the thing I was building on before, when we look at degrees in a different way, they are harmony. When we look at degrees in a different way, I want us to look at degrees in a different way. That's how you get an understanding. So when you look at degrees in a different way, like the knowledge equality degree, right? It is not very useful to look at the knowledge degree and say, check, that's me, that's the end of the understanding. You see what I'm saying? It's basically to look at the degree and say, well, listen, knowledge equality, then who acknowledges the equality of this truth? That there are actually a group of people that are teaching things that are very specific. But we're not out there just preaching it. So that means that there are other ways that it's being taught, other styles, other types of living. And then you start to analyze the way you live. You say, listen, I'm not an MC like King Kamal just said. I don't have, or Infinite Mind, right? I don't have ways of showing this teachings to the world like that in such nice pieces of art. So how would I do it? It's not kind of out there, and I'm not really out there in the streets. I'm older. I'm not in the streets, or maybe younger, but you're not really that person. You know what I'm saying? And I want to keep it real. A lot of times, the streets don't have those people. You know what I'm saying? Like, people aren't in the streets like that. A lot of the youth aren't in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Right? They're more they're more at home. They're more in their social media, into their phones, whatever it is they do. Right? It's more home centered or inside centered, we should say. Right? It's because of the digital media and all these things. Right? So how is it that we teach? You know what I'm saying? Then we have to start to look at the simple things I teach. The build awareness square plus lesson I teach. How you do the knowledge to yourself. In other words, what is the way that you, how is the way that you live? How are the ways that you answer people, right? We don't speak in the 5% dialect completely to the populace, but what styles of words that we use, what important words that we use, do you allow to become a unique way of speaking for yourself? In other words, have you patterned a self-styled wisdom in situations where you're not teaching overtly? You know what I'm saying? It's easy to have the self-styled wisdom and just taper it down just a little bit so that way you could be exotic in the hood. And then that draws up the students, or if you're 10%, it just makes you look cool, right? But how do you do that in the workplace? How do you do that around other people? How do you do that when you meet people? You know what I'm saying? How do you have a unique way of building, a unique way of speaking? These are the ways that you should look at. See, I'm getting through all of these things just looking at the degree. Who is the 5% on the poor part of the planet Earth, right? The poor righteous teachers. Have we decided what a poor righteous teacher is? Because to me, I have always defined it though, right? As someone that's willing to sacrifice all that they have to teach and share what it is that they have. So that poor does not mean that they're, you know, that we're the old school Buddhists and we have to be in poverty because it's just not right. But they're willing to sacrifice things. So they are willing to sacrifice wealth for principle, but they're also willing to sacrifice the opportunity for wealth, right? To spend that opportunity cost to get money or to teach this, to get money or to teach that, right? Because there's an effort to it. A lot of people don't understand that this, when you say poor righteous teacher, there might not be blatant moments where you say, okay, I'm giving up this $1 million capital here to teach this here, or I'm not going to say that and I'm losing thousands of dollars because I won't say what they just told me to say or print what they told me to say. These are things, right? Mind you, I'm saying stuff. I've never lost that much money though, but I have lost money not printing certain things. I have lost jobs not with absolutely not accepting to print certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I have real examples of choosing to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Of not selling out, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I've had those situations, you know, and you will be left with less. You know what I'm saying? You will be left with less. And contrary to what people think, though, for a long time, while it happens and after it happens, people really don't give a shit or see it as a wonderful thing. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's only in retrospect to people that are not affected by that are okay with the dramatization and the melodrama and the exoticness of keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? But that's what poor righteous teacher is. You know what I'm saying? We look at these words, we define them though. So now we're being encountered with decisions. Are you willing to be that? It doesn't mean poor. That I don't like when I hear just contrary builds. What do you mean it doesn't mean poor? You know, you can't, people haven't proven that it doesn't mean poor. It's what type of poor it means. You know what I'm saying? What type of righteousness is it? You see? What is the definition of righteousness? If we are taught by the elders that we're not holy. Right? What does all wise mean? If you can't know everything, then what does all wise mean? That's what I said about a teacher. I was answering that. I said all wise literally means someone as a teacher that is able to guide you to the answer. I don't know the answer, but here's a way to get closer to it, right? I know of the place to get to the answer. I know the method to get to the answer. This is what a teacher brings forums. You know what I'm saying? They bring forums to the student, the people. That means that the student as a living member of the teacher as a living member, the poor righteous teacher as a living member of that society is bringing forms to people in ways that people don't always notice. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, at best, and at most required, they bring the form of example. How are they an example to the populace? So when you walk down the street, how are you an example? You know what I'm saying? You see, I get a lot of hell in the videos. I get a lot of hell in these class videos, especially in Allah School in Mecca, because I'm wearing polo. Literally, because I'm wearing certain clothes, though. But these clothes, though, I'm able to wear them in a corporate environment. I'm able to wear it in the street. I'm able to wear it in many places. So it's fit for many places and allows me to what? Engage many people. You see? Even as it draws the ire. Okay. Infinite Mind, you said poor is to give all I have and all within my power. That's right. That's right. And to also to speak amongst the disenfranchised. 40th degree in the 1 to 40. Right. Righteous. To do what is right, especially when no one is around. You know who was famous for writing about that was Confucius. Confucius said that the most important time that you have is when you are alone. That is the most time that you were tested. That is when you have to be as if you're truly right and exact, then that's when you will be right and exact. LT Station, it has been a minute. You said peace to the cipher. I also see the word poor is to mean humble. Maybe that's not the best word for you to use for it, actually. I don't see it to have to mean like having little money, though. I think of people who might say something like that. Poor man tried his best and nobody paid attention. They don't mean lacking in money. Understand? I see where you're coming from with there. Yeah. It would need more than just the word humble, but humility is definitely a part of it. Right? Infinite Mind had just said that earlier in the start of this class. The teacher, the educator, to draw out from within. Right? And I gave some examples of how to draw from within. Right?
Oh my god, guys, it's been 2 hours. It's lunchtime. I had fun.
All right.
Hey, Bobby, you didn't get to teach anybody alive.
Yeah. I'm surprised. The last couple of weeks, I've had people in the classroom. I guess it didn't happen today.
Bobby.
But one of them that was here last week, God Kassim, is online. So.
Bobby, this stuff, the fork was stuck in there, so he's like napkin stuff on it. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby,
Yeah.
why'd you say Lordy Mystery God?
It's a joke. Because there's no mystery God. Okay?
What does Lordy mean?
The Lord. Right? But with the Lords, right? There's no, right? Papa's Lord.
I don't know Lord.
Lord means God. The gods in who are translated lessons in Spanish say, Maestro recto humilde. Interesting. So the word that's in the. I'm interested why that was used. Okay. It means something different in Spanish. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because it's not straight. Yeah. There's nuance to that word. Is that agreeing with the? The Lord, yeah. All right. All right. We only have a couple of minutes, so anybody that has any questions about stuff, this is a good class because we did spend a lot of time about teaching, and I often do that on these days. Whenever the days on 16th, 17th, the 18th, you know what I'm saying? I told the God King Kamal, I know that for me, one of the greatest examples of continuity in the lessons is how potent and how potently numerically matched. Because sometimes people don't see it immediately with every degree. How potently matched with the mathematics, the 14th through the 19th degree. Yeah, even the 20, we could say 22. The 20th as well. You know what I'm saying? R. And I could go on further, 21 definitely, but because it's about teaching and it's about who people are and teaching, that is such a crucial set. So crucial that the 14th, 15th, and 16th degree, many elders used to teach that. Like I was telling the guy, Umala used to teach that immediately. And a lot of elders used to teach those degrees first, along with who's the original man,
I literally have to do the standing up.
I don't know. No. Poor part, that the poor part is not referring to the 16th degree. No. That's something totally different. Like poor part, no, not poor righteous teacher. No, it's totally different.
Where's the napkin?
Use that one. Use that. Okay. If you finish, just close it up. Okay. Mm-hmm. And put it in the bag. Okay. Put everything in the black bag.
And then can you open your water bottle?
Put everything over first. In the bag. Okay.
Hey, Bobby, I liked my food.
Okay. You know what's crazy, Malik? I didn't mention the Mets once in this album, though.
So everybody, we have 5 more minutes left. We don't have enough time. We're leaving early today.
Okay, there's some important things that I gave about pedagogy, science of teaching, especially those who are actually with the lessons already. You're out there trying to think of how to teach, all of these kind of things. I put a lot out of there in the beginning of this class. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course. I know you mess with me.
Of course, I want to cut
And
from the countryside. From the countryside. Only God, keepers, but God, no I was from the sunny side. We're from the sunny side. Yes, I'm here. All right. I from the shore. Hey, you don't get to play my games. Do this, do this, do this, do do do. Penguins, penguins. Never let your countryside go. The countryside, just the you want to do it. Countryside people, from the countryside.
finish singing for everybody.
Oh, I like that song.
Okay. Yeah, she's singing here. Amma, come here.
Okay.
Infinite Mind didn't get to see me. I had her come here in the beginning. Tell him your name.
My name is Alma.
How old are you, Amma?
9.
You're 9?
Yeah, no.
Oh man, you're old enough to go home, man. I don't even know why I'm dealing with you, man. Peace.
Hey, people! They're supposed to know that I'm 9 years old. Hey, Bobby, is this going on YouTube?
Yeah.
Can I
You
go
doing?
and see the video because it's funny?
No, you can see that funny weirdness you did later, okay?
Dang it! I don't like to dance.
All right, she did her TikTok thing, TikTokisms. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, she's banned. This is the last time. You're banned.
Hey.
All right, and on that note, I guess we are. I guess we are done. I'm gonna put my email here. All right, so if anybody asks and stuff, and um, yeah, she's very spirited because when my oldest Luna was that age, she would not do all that stuff. All right, I got you. She would not do all that stuff. So different levels, different children, you know. Yeah. So I am done for tonight. Okay. You're writing for them, I know. Then she had to get comfortable. Yeah. You know. No, that's not the cookie connoisseur. Alma actually doesn't eat any sugar. She doesn't eat sugar.
And candy.
She doesn't. Well, candy is sugar. She only eats fruit. But yeah, I don't know how she has all this energy. That she's not hopped up on sugars. You know what I mean? So it's all mental energy. Listen, until next time, I'm gonna bring this child home, and we'll be here. I will be here next Thursday. Usually, it should be the regular time, 6 to 8. But if not, I always let everybody know. Okay, on the social media, and if you're connected with me, you should be texting me. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. Peace, y'all.
Hey, Mommy, did I do good?